So for all of you, I want you to think about with customers, how can you insert yourself and your products and your services into their daily lives? I never recommend to a client, like one of my clients, that they should try and change a client's behavior. If they go get their haircut 4 times a year, okay, then that's what they do. And that's what I'll base my projections on. If they go twice a month, great. I want you to think about the behaviors of your customer, their buying habits, and their needs. I think all of you are at a place where you're not necessarily trying to sell things to people that they don't want or need. I think you're trying to sell things to people that they do need. I mean, because you all have had sales, but I want you to think about, are they buying it at a level that will allow you to be a sustainable business, especially as we look at a possible, not even possible, as we look at an economic downturn. Even if, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but even with the tariffs, even if we had a turnaround, like they were reversed. I mean, we're already seeing, 70% less cargo ships in the ports across, at our major ports. We saw an uptick in people buying things like in end of March, beginning of April. That's because they knew tariffs were coming. But now people are buying less. Delivery services are laying people off. Amazon has had some cutbacks. A lot of retail stores are having cutbacks. So, because there's a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. So even with that going on, I challenge you to think about how you can still find need in the market, because look, there's a lot of pain out there, and it's just getting started. All those government workers, they're still getting paid. The ones who were able to, I guess, were let go and they get paid for up until September, they're still getting paid. What happens after September? What will that do to your customers? What will that do to the market? What will that do to the housing market? All these factors, I want you to start to think about it. Because if you plan on being business, we still have to find ways to find needs that we can fill. Best way to do that I recommend is all the time, take a step back and look at, what are the things that I can do? And maybe it's different than what you're doing right now. 4 years ago, I wasn't doing AI. 3 years ago, I wasn't doing AI. But one thing I know is that for me, we work on contracts. And one thing I've learned is all contracts come to an end. Situations change, demand changes. So I was like, okay, look, this is a good deal right here. We're doing all these cohorts, but that will run out at some point. What else can we sell? So I started learning AI and we started building tools, made a lot of mistakes, but finally we got some things to work and they work great and we're selling them. So I encourage you, and I always dedicate 20% of my week to innovation. Now we're working on agents that could do, more complicated things than just, answer simple questions, because that's where it's going. So I encourage you, one, to dedicate time to innovation so you can learn some new skills, think about what else you could sell. But also, of course, in this present day with your current customers, always analyzing their needs in the market, but also analyzing what it is that they'll actually pay for. There are lots of things that people may want or need, but they won't pay for them. Like this class right here. You guys are in the class, but are you my customers? Well, maybe. Depends who you ask. My customer, really, the people who pay me, are economic development offices, government agencies, banks, universities, federal, state, local agencies. Those are my clients because they pay me. And because if you think about it, who really pays you? Who really pays you? You may service children, but do they write checks? You may put on eyelashes, but are they paying for it? Maybe not. Maybe so. So think about your marketing, think about who you're really trying to reach, and think about what their needs are and how you can help them to fill it. The needs of for the people who pay me to do this program, they want to create jobs, they want to create economic impact, they want to create a larger tax base. Because if you have a larger tax base, we have stronger neighborhoods, we have less crime, more jobs, better economy. That's what they want, and that's what this program does. It just so happens that the entrepreneur, you guys are in the program, and in turn, hopefully use the information to go and make it happen. So think about your situation. Who are your direct customers, people who pay you? And then who are the ones who you also provide service to? They may be the same, they may not. And what are their needs, and what will their needs be now during a recession, and then also, of course, after the recovery? This process, every single business has this process. I've been fixing this process for 20 years. It hasn't changed. No matter what technology you put in, we just call things different things. There's always the research of trying to figure out what are the needs in the market, the pain points, the desires. There's always some kind of ad, something that gets people's attention. Used to be billboards, used to be TV, used to be radio. Now it's paid ads on Google. Then there's an integrated marketing process. Back then, it was like a big deal to have a code that you would put on a mailer, and then when it comes in, you would write the code to see which version of the mailer worked the best. It would take weeks. I remember that. That's how long I've been in marketing. Then you make that customer aware. Then there's a lead. There's like, so that customer says, oh, okay, I want to do something. And so they reach out in some kind of way. They give you a phone call. Now they send you emails, or they go on your website. They chat you, or they go on your social media page. Then there's some kind of, hopefully they contact you, and then there's a conversion. Not everybody who contacts you converts to a sale. Then once they convert to a sale, you fulfill that order, you provide that service. Maybe that context, they come to your store, they come to your restaurant. You fulfill that service and you get paid. This is pretty much the same process for all businesses. So your job as the owner is to find ways to make each little point more efficient. And so what I want to talk about right now is AI, just very briefly, because I know we've covered it. I didn't have all these pieces when we talked last time, but I want to just explain. So like this right here, if you remember last time I talked about how my business over time implemented AI, even to the point where we made our own tools. But what I want to show you with this is, if you remember, this is the customer right here. The channels they reach out, at least to my business, are the way they reach out to my business are via phone, web, social, and email. We have an AI phone system that creates qualified leads. We have AI chatbots on the website that create qualified leads. We have on social media. Actually, on social, what we're using internally is a tool called Centra. And Centra gives me AI employees, but also what it does is, and I didn't think of this when I first purchased. I think I pay like maybe $50 a month or so, is that my team has access to it. So I spent like a week or two teaching it about me and my business. So now when my team goes into Centra, it can create content for them. Like, okay, I want to create a newsletter. I want to do this. I want to create a post. Because it knows how I would answer it. It knows about my business. It creates that based on how I would answer it, but better. So it's less time. It's definitely, I don't have to create it, but also I don't even have to do as much hardcore quality checks. I don't have to have as many meetings. It's like they're asking me, but I'm not even there. It's amazing. And it's automated, and it puts out information, and it creates qualified leads. And then on our email system, we didn't build this. This is a tool we found called Fixer, FYXER.ai. Amazing. My email box has been out of control for a long time, and not anymore. It'll read the emails that come in. The ones that are actually require a response, they'll like mark them as orange. And then when I open it up, it gives me the options, like a pre-written text to respond. Like they said, hey, Will, can we meet today at 2 or at 4? It'll say, Option one, yes, Jim, I can meet you at 2. Or yes, Jim, I can meet you at 4. Like it writes it and I just click the one I want and it sends it. Or I can edit it to make it something different. Saves a tremendous amount of time. Highly recommended. Now, meanwhile, all these leads are going to the team. Dr. Coles is making it happen. Team knows what to do. Company's running. I'm over here thinking about new ways to make money. And so I'm building AI agents. I'm creating events. I'm creating referral programs. I'm writing proposals. I'm helping with the paid ads to drive to the customer so they'll reach back out to us. Even more customers will reach back, will contact us, and then once again, qualified leads, and the process keeps going. This saves me hundreds of thousands of dollars in personnel and in time, and it makes millions of dollars. To me, it's a no-brainer. And to help you while you think about it, that same marketing process, market research, SEO, keyword search, web design, content creation, lead generation, sales, customer service, marketing analytics, the basics of a marketing process. I've given you at least 10 to 12 different AI tools that I've looked at that work, that you could choose from to see which works best in your business. Then you use a tool, what's called Zapier, Zapier, to tie it together, and now you have automation. And that's like still really, really good. But eventually, actually not even eventually, like right now or even soon, one of the things we're working on with clients is helping them to make this automation so it's not kind of like piecemeal. This works with this, but really agents that can do all of these things, and we teach them how to do these things, and they just do it all. That's now. That is now. So I encourage you to to embrace AI, because your clients are, I'm sorry, your competition is. And and you might say, well, they may not like to work with AI. Well, okay. Create opt-outs. Like even with our AI phone system, you can, like, we don't say it out front, but if someone says, hey, I want to talk to Will Holmes, she will transfer you right to my voicemail. I want to leave a message for the team, transfers to the voicemail. No problem. So as you're building these things, allow for an opt-out so they can still talk to a person, but utilize them, leverage them so things can become more efficient. Because I am assuming, based on the economic factors, that we're looking at a tighter time. So who normally does well, who normally does poorly in a recession? Who does well? Grocery stores, discount retailers, healthcare, utilities, auto repair, home repair, childcare, financial advisory, debt collection, cleaning and sanitation, healthcare, certain IT segments, especially if you help people to make money, certain communication services, rental, people start selling their houses or downsizing. Who does poorly? Non-essential retail, hospitality, travel, arts and entertainment, manufacturing. If things don't turn around fast, we're gonna have a really hard time. Prices are already going up. I saw today Ford, I didn't read it, Ford released its new pricing on vehicles, even though a lot of it's made here, though all the parts aren't. Construction, many products and services come from overseas. You know how much lumber we get from Canada? Real estate, automotive, banking, investment firms, insurance, luxury goods usually do poorly in a recession. Remember how to on YouTube blew up? Just be prepared, because either way, if you're going to stay open, you've got to create a marketing funnel. You've got to create interest. You've got to drive them through your process so they can make a purchase. That's what it's about. Some tools that help you. I've shared some of this in our one-on-ones with some of you, but SEMrush, SEMRUS, excuse me, SEMRUSH.com. you can go to this website. And now if you keep using it, it'll try and make you pay, which actually I think it's worth it. It's a fantastic tool, but you can use it for free for a little while. And you can type in your own domain and it will show you the keywords people use to find your domain, your website. Very, very informative. You could find the keyword phrases people are using to find your website. Lashes near me, childcare near me, best childcare in Anne Arundel County. Also, you type in your competition's website, their domain, and you could see the keywords people are using to find them. My recommendation is you use those keywords, you put them into your site through your blogs and the way you describe things. Maybe write a blog about, any of the keyword phrases people are using to find them. Those are all blog topics. You can even have AI write them, and you take their traffic. Not everybody knows about this site, but those who do, this is what they do. That's why your traffic will dip in many cases, because they use the keywords. So as you're thinking about all this, I know this is a lot already, but I want you to consider this. I want you to really think about expanding who you sell to. Remember in that first class, I asked you, okay, what do you sell to B2B, B2C, B2G, to government agencies, to businesses, and to consumers? Now's the time. The government is one of the biggest buyer, actually is the biggest buyer in the world. And even with all the things happening on the federal level, I went to a briefing yesterday morning. It was very informative. What is expected to happen is on the federal level, they're going to push down a lot of services to the states. Let the states handle it. So the things still need to get done, right? So it'll be up to the states to find the funding and create opportunities, or maybe the government may still give them funding. We'll see, but they have to make these programs. That means they're going to create contracts. In turn, the state will probably push things down to the counties, which means the counties have to create contracts. So the work is not going to go away. It might just be who's paying for it. So I encourage you to embrace the idea of B2G for whatever it is that you do. And because I'm telling you, it's hard to kind of get started, but once you're in, it's amazing. Acquisition cost, very low. Once I get a customer once, usually they stay. Unless I mess up, and that's not going to happen. And as long as you don't mess up, you can keep that client for years. Just keep building the relationship. And what they often will do is give you even more contracts because they can trust you. And they'll tell all their friends, and then they'll give you contracts too. That is how it works. I've been doing this for 20 years. So I encourage you to think about, well, Will, I just do this one thing with customers. Okay, well, let's figure it out. Let's have a one-on-one, but we need to create a broad yet specific brand identity. So this is Miss Carolyn. Miss Carolyn is a business consultant like me, right? But she works with consumers, like customers. She works with business owners. She works with the government, but she wants to figure out like a broad category for her branding and marketing so people can understand that she works with all different types of folks. So she comes up with, I'm a management consultant dedicated to supporting business leaders as they grow their organizations. Yeah, that's great, right? That's fantastic. So now that she can work with in her marketing shows that she works with B2B, B2C, B2G. When she works with B2C, direct to consumers, and she's selling basically the same things to different people, she's just packaging it a little different. B2C, like business to consumer, they can't afford to pay for things like B2G. So what does she do? They have pain points, they have needs, they have aspirations and feelings and goals. And what does she do? She understands those needs. And in turn, by talking to them, she realizes they need ebooks and coaching and courses. So she makes an offer, explains the benefits, customizes solutions, makes it easy for them to buy it and affordable, creates a call to action. Hey, come here and sign up for my course. And then she gets paid. B2B, they have pain points, aspirations, feelings, and goals, and she's saying the same stuff, but they want coaching. They want new processes and new technology. And they need her to help them, need her to implement them. See, the B2C, they don't have the money for that, but they're going to teach themselves how to do it based on your courses. B2B, they have the money but they don't have the time. So they're going to pay you to do it. So with B2B and B2C, you've got to find ways to understand their needs and create value that they're happy to pay for. Happy to pay for. The same way you're happy to pay for that $2,000 purse or that $50,000 truck or send your kid to private school, how you will cut that check because you find value, even though you have a cheaper option. That's what we have to do. And the only way to do that is understand our customers better and then give them what they're looking for. With B2C and B2B, we need to use simple language like better experience. It tastes better. You're going to like working with me better. You're going to like me more. You're going to trust me more. Our cookies taste better. Your children are safer with me. They're going to be smarter if they go through my program. Your lashes will look better. Simple. To help with your B2B work, there are some great AI tools. You can, and remember, you can download this, what I'm showing you right now, great AI tools to help you write your B2B proposals better. When you're writing your proposals, basically 4 simple steps, but very important steps. You meet with them to determine their interest. You make them ask you for a proposal. Don't just say, oh, I'll write your proposal. No, I make them ask me. Will, yeah, send me a proposal. Or will you send me a proposal? I don't send it unless they ask. Then I tell them, say, look, I'm going to send you this proposal, but when are we going to meet to discuss it? You want to talk tomorrow at 4 or the day after at 4? I give them the illusion of choice. I don't care what they choose. We just need to meet, or I'm not sending this proposal. We need to get that in order before I send it. Otherwise, you'll send a proposal and just sits out in the air, in the ether. Then when you actually talk to them, you say, look, we're going to talk about next steps in this meeting. Then you get them to give you a verbal yes. Then you follow up with a contract for a signature and a deposit to start the work. No dough, no show. I love B2B, but you have to understand how it works. Also understand their budget cycle. Same way you're doing cash flow projections, hopefully they are too. Now, if you're working with bigger companies, and so if they are, they have a budget cycle. They're like, okay, well, I can't, that's not in the budget this year. But maybe later on in the year, maybe if things change, or maybe they sell some more stuff so they can afford it, or they go get a loan so they can afford it. You have to keep that in mind. Now, if you're working with a bigger company, like these are the biggest employers in Maryland, they probably have a procurement process, or once again, they have a budget, but they probably have a little bit more money to spend, and it's really clear on their website or their procurement site what they're buying this year, very similar to how the government does it. They'll put out what's called an RFP, request for a proposal, and you respond with a proposal, and then they choose you, and then you do the work. There's a great event called Meet the Primes, and actually they have a few of them throughout the year. Just Google Meet the Primes, and you go to these events. These are large expos, and so all these big companies want to work with small companies, not because they necessarily want to work with them. It's because they've probably won big contracts that require certain small companies to be on the contract to help small businesses. So you go to these Meet the Primes events, just Google it, you'll find some, and you go with your capability statement. I'll show you that in a second. You go with some marketing material. You go looking really sharp. You got your value propositions. You could say it and it's nice and smooth. And you go and shake some hands and you try and make a good impression. I'm not going to read all these. You could take some time and do this, but from working with a lot of big companies, they tell me to tell you, don't lead with your minority certifications. They can tell you're a woman. They can tell you're Black. They can tell you're not white. They get it. They understand, right? They see that. So they want you to really just lead with, I'm really good at what I do. Here's my experience. Here's examples of what I've done. Lead with that. Also, be professional. Make sure you got a domain and a professional email address, and you've got business cards and brochures and all that. Don't give them easy reasons to not work with you because you want to use. I mean, I use Gmail for most things, but when I'm actually trying to get some new work, I do use my WHC domain email. Make it easy for them to say yes, because there's 1,000 other companies like yours who are trying to get them to say yes. It's very competitive. So that's B2C and B2B. Now we're going to talk about B2G before we end. Completely different. Completely different. This is much harder to get started in, but way more lucrative. So you want to choose your target agencies. There are hundreds of agencies, even with all the shakeups. Remember, there's a federal level that has hundreds of agencies. Then each state has government agencies, and all of them buy things. And there are 50 states, last time I checked, and each state has dozens of counties. And all those counties buy things. You have to find who's buying what you sell. And most of those counties and most of those states, they have forecasts where they'll say, hey, these are the things that have been approved in the budget, and these are things we're going to buy this year. So you can, and I'll show you where to go for that. It's a big, long list. So you've got that part, but then you still have to narrow it down, because what you don't want to do is just start chasing. Oh, I do electrical. Oh, and I saw today Google is hiring like I don't know, like thousands of electricians because they need them to help them build data centers. I saw that today, Mr. Smith. So I didn't validate it though to make sure it's accurate, but it did come across on a business email, I think that's from a person I trust. So you may want to check that out. But you want to look at these agencies and you want to see what they buy. But this agency may buy electrical services, this one, this one, this one. I recommend that you choose one that you can build a deep relationship with, where you plan to work with them for years. And sure, you can pick 2 or 3, right? But not 20. It's too hard to manage. So you want to go and look up what are called NAICE codes. So imagine years ago, someone went into a little room and spent a few weeks in there and wrote down all the jobs in the US and then gave them all a code. Those are called the North American Industrial Classification System codes, NAICE. And so you can look up your NAICE code. You can go to census.gov/NAICE. I think also NAICE.com is also a free website you can use. But if you just Google NAICE codes, you'll find a few sites that'll give it. And then you look for the codes that relate to your keywords of what you do, electrician or consultant or whatever. And then from there, you want to get into these databases I'm going to show you in a second. On the federal level, it's called SAM.gov. On the state level here in Maryland, it's called EMA, eMaryland Marketplace Advantage. It's at procurement.maryland.gov. You get into those websites, which is super duper important. And it's free to get in. You just take some paperwork and things like that so you can verify who you are. Once you get in, you can look for contract opportunities. I try and spend at least half a day each week looking at contract opportunities. I often send them to people. Like, you may even see me post them in the group, in Owners Community Group, because I know people who, because I can't build a bridge, but some other folks in the group can. Why not? Share the information. But you go through these websites and you look for opportunities for yourself, and then that helps you to narrow down, because you'll see that these certain agencies keep putting contracts out for what you do. That helps you to narrow it down, and then you can laser focus on them and start to write proposals and start to build relationships. I was on a panel last night, and they asked me, what are some ways that I measure if I'm being successful in government contracting. This may sound funny or weird, I don't know, but one of the things, I mean, obviously when I make money and I win contracts, but the other way is when I call them and they know it's me and they say, "Hey, Will," they sing my name, I'm doing a good job. Or they see me and they run up to me happy, or they walk up to me happy and give me a hug, or, "Well, it's so good to see you. Thanks for your help on," that lets you know you're doing a good job. And it also lets you know that they'll be happy to recommend you and introduce you to other people. You create bonds, you create friendships, you create trust. You may not be buddy friends, but you're helping that person build their career. You're helping that person do well at their job, because their boss is like, "Hey, what's going on with this thing?" They want to be able to say, "Yeah, everything's good. Will's got it." As opposed to, "Well, we're having some problems." That's making them look bad. So with the B2G, you've got to make sure you understand when they put out an RFP, a request for a proposal, you understand the needs, you understand the kind of team you're going to have to put together. And they don't have to be employees. They can be 1099s in many cases. You can start recruiting from people you know, creating your network, or start putting out information on Indeed and start to just talk to people. "Hey, look, right, if I get the work, then I plan to bring you on. But right now, I'm just trying to build a team." And what I always ask people is, "Hey, what is your rate range? What's the lowest you'll take? What's the most you want?" That helps me so I can know if I get them something on this project where I can pay them a rate that's in that range, they're going to be happy. And then you respond to that RFP with your team and all their qualifications. And you show them that you have a team of people to do this. What we're seeing in the trending on the federal level and on the state is they're bundling projects. They want one throat to choke. They don't want to have like 10 different people to build a house. It's not 10 different people on 10 different contracts to build a house. It's one contract. That general contractor makes sure the plumber shows up, electrician shows up, whatever. Those blanket purchases is what we're seeing. So make sure that you're prepared for that. Get your team together. As I mentioned, you want to, and this is a quick guide. I'm not going to read this to you, but it's a step-by-step on getting into those websites, sam.gov and EMA, E-Maryland Marketplace Advantage. And that's just in Maryland. There are 49 other states, last time I checked, and I believe most of them, if not all of them, have some kind of procurement process because all of them buy things. On the county level, most counties have some kind of procurement process, but some do not. You have to go and meet people and shake some hands. They may even put what I'm seeing now, like even here in Maryland, on Eastern Shore, they post a lot of their procurement projects in the newspaper. Not even in EMA. So you have to be in the know to go and learn about contracts. So take some time to look at this step by step on how to get going in government. As you're writing proposals, and I'm telling you, the proposals are super important as you're thinking about working in government and building relationships. Yes, go to expos. Yes, go to events. But I'm telling you, the key is really going to pre-bid meetings, pre-solicitation meetings, and writing proposals. I mean, I really don't even go to too many events. Unless I'm speaking, I don't really go. Now, and I want to say with a caveat, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've built some really great relationships with my target customers. Like, people know who I am. But I've been doing this steady, hardcore for like 20 years. For you to get in this game, you've got to go to those things and so people can know who you are. But in addition to those networking events, you've got to focus on looking in those databases, seeing when they're going to have like an informational meeting to talk about the contract. And you go to that because that's where the decision makers are, and that's where all the people can answer your questions, and you get to meet the people who are also going after that contract. And that's super important because guess what? I just want to go to the prom. I don't care who takes me. I want to go in that room and make friends with everybody because somebody's going to win that contract. I want them to say, that guy Will, he was all right. Let me put him on this contract. I don't care if I go in as a subcontractor. Sometimes I want to be a subcontractor. I may not have all the people or tools to do the whole project. But if I'm a prime, where it means I have everything I need, I'm going in there like a hungry monster. I'm trying to take it all, and they can jump on my team, maybe. So those meetings are very valuable to go to. I recommend going to at least once a week, a different one every week for different RFPs, and focus on building relationships, get all your answers and your questions answered, and write amazing proposals. And when I say amazing proposal, it's not even like rocket science. It's really, they're in the RFP, request for proposal, they're going to say, hey, here's the format for the proposal that we want. Like they actually like say it. Here's the format we want. 1A, tell us about your company in 250 words or less. 1B, tell us about your team members and list their and put them in a chart and list their education and their experience and expertise. Like it tells you, it's like school, it tells you exactly what to do. In addition, they're going to want to see your capability statement. This is a one pager. This capability statement is a one pager to talk about your business. And so I encourage you to take a look at this and see, and not even see, and just and actually, and we put it in there. It's in the essential tools, I believe Dr. Cole's put it in there. We added a template for capability statements. So it's my capability statement, and I just made a copy of it. So you can just, fill in the blanks and put your own information in like a PowerPoint doc. It's easy to use. So you can definitely check that out so you can be ready. Because when you contact them on that first call, they're going to ask you, okay, well, send me over your capability statement. You want to think about certifications, woman-owned small business, HubZone. I want you to go here and read more about that. 8A programs on the state level. The Department of Transportation, they handle certification for minority business enterprise, small business enterprise, disadvantaged business enterprise. The DBE is actually a federal level certification. So you can go through that agency and they'll help you with that. It's free. It takes a lot of time, but it is free. Once you in that website I told you about where you can see all the contracts for the state of Maryland called EMA. It's called EMA, stands for E-Maryland Marketplace Advantage. Once you get in there, you can actually self-certify for the Small Business Reserve Program. It takes like a minute. And then there's the BWI Airport Concession Certification. Then, of course, on your city and county level, they may have certain certifications, also depending on based on what you do. And then, to really end with this, I want you to really think about the marketing process for BDG. We call this really the bid no bid process. A fantastic BDG consultant named Lynn Jenkins made this for me many years ago. Well, she was teaching me over a decade ago. And what it really is really about is really thinking about who you want to work with. What do you want to be known as in like 5 years? I want to be the go-to for entrepreneurial programs in the state of Maryland. That was what I told her years ago. And I think we're pretty close to that. And then it talks about how to identify opportunities and then you think about, okay, look, can I actually win this contract that we're reading in this RFP? What's my competition like? Okay, these four we found. No, I'm not going to go after these three. I'm going to go after this one. I really think I can do it. I think we can win. You write a proposal, you submit, and you look, right? Usually I always tell clients to write, for every one you want to win, write four. So if you're trying to do $1 million this year, you should at least write for $4 million worth of proposals. Not going to win all of them, but you should win some. And create like a date, like folders because they're going to ask you the same questions over and over again. So I encourage you to just keep those answers so you can copy and paste them into future proposals. These next few slides, I'm not going to read these to you, but check these out. These are links so you can go and see forecasts. So you can see what government agencies are going to be buying this year. When I first started, I didn't even know about these. I just went to expos and just asked people or just told them what I do. It's different now. You can see what people are planning to buy this year. And then last thing is the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization on the federal level. There are people that are there to help you to get government contracts. So every agency has one of these individuals there, or even a couple individuals there. You can reach out to them on their website and see how they can help you to meet decision makers and get connected and learn more about opportunities. Because no matter who you're selling to, whether if it's B2C, B2G, B2B, you have to always think about your expertise, what it is that you can offer the market, what are the needs in the market that need to be filled, and then most importantly, of those needs, which are the ones they're willing to pay you to fix now? Because if you focus on where those things overlap, that's where you'll make money.